Good morning, class. Today is Friday, March 27th, 2020. I'm going to go ahead and set our timer and start us off. So we only have 20 minutes of work to do. Before you know it, it's going to be done and you're going to be off to play. Okay? So let's focus. Today is so exciting because we're going to start our new unit on shapes. We're going to talk about some 3D shapes and 2D shapes. To start us off, let's open to our textbooks to chapter 8. And let's take a look at this page. What I want you to do, just like what the kids did, it said, what did they make? What shapes did they use? The kids gathered random stuff around their homes and their classrooms, like boxes and toilet paper rolls and some cans, some books, tissue boxes, whatever you have around the house. Go ahead and pause this video, gather some materials, and see if you can build something. Okay? And then come right back. I'm going to do the same. And here is what I had at home. I had two small empty tape dispensers, not tape dispensers, but like the part that's left from a tape, a tissue box, and then these are also left over from tapes as well. So I decided to make a car that can roll and go back and forth. It's not very sturdy, but it's really cool to see that you can make something just out of the stuff that you have around the house and recycle the items and materials. I wonder what you made. If you made something for today's lesson, I would love to see a picture of something that you built if you decided to do that. Okay, so here we have three-dimensional shapes. This is a cuboid. This is a cube. Here we have a cylinder, a cone, and last shape we're going to look at, we have a pyramid. Now what I want you to do is you're going to pause the video again and you're going to walk around the house and see if you can find something that looks like a cuboid, something that looks like a cube, a cylinder, a cone, and a pyramid, and bring those objects right back. Welcome back. So I looked around my house as well. I'm going to use my tissue box to represent the cuboid. I found a jar. You can also use a can of anything to represent your cylinder. The cube was a little harder, but I found these ice cubes that I can use to represent my cubes. I'll put those here. I couldn't find a cone, but if you have a party hat, that would represent the shape of a cone. And I also couldn't find anything around the house that was a pyramid. So for this, what we're going to do is we're going to take a sheet of paper, we're going to put it on the table, and we're going to use our objects, the three-dimensional objects, to trace the faces. So the face of a three-dimensional object is the flat surface of a 3D shape. So this is the flat surface, so this is the face of an object. For example, if I am looking at my cylinder, this is not flat. It's not a flat surface because it is round and it rolls, right? But this part is a flat surface. So this is the face of an object. And when you're tracing, you are going to use the edge to trace around the edges. These are the edges of a three-dimensional object. In the book, the kids used the different three-dimensional objects and traced their faces around the edges to make a picture. She drew a picture of a dog. What will you draw a picture of? Go ahead and pause the video and draw your picture. So I used my rectangular prism or my cuboid and my cylinder's face of circle and my cubes to draw a robot. Can't wait to see what you drew. So here we have rectangles. We're going to talk about rectangles first. And if you were to trace your cuboid, you could see that there is the shape of a rectangle in its face. This is the flat surface. The face of the flat surface is in the shape of a rectangle. So the rectangle, in your book, it says the rectangle has 4 corners. Let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's the 4 corners of your rectangle. And it says the rectangle has sides. Let's count the number of sides it has. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in your textbook, let's write down that the rectangles have 4 sides. These rectangles are called squares. Wow, look at that. They said that the squares, these are also rectangles. Both squares and rectangles have 4 sides and 4 corners. Squares are special rectangles. Why are they special? What do you think? Squares are special because even though they both have, and I'll draw another square here, they both have 4 sides that are straight, and they both have 4 corners. That is why they are both rectangles, but a square has all sides that are equal, that are the same length. That is why a square is special. All of the sides of the square are equal. In the rectangle, some sides are short and some sides are long. They are not equal. In a square, all 4 sides are the same length. Let's go ahead and write the number 4 and flip to the next page. Now we're going to look at triangles. When we traced the pyramid, we traced the face of a triangle because a pyramid has triangles on its faces. Remember, a face is the flat surface on a three-dimensional shape. The corners on triangles can look different from each other. Notice lots of different triangles. Some corners are bigger, some corners are smaller. A triangle has straight sides and corners. Let's look at how many sides it has. It has 1, 2, 3 sides. So we're going to write down a triangle has 3 straight sides and how many corners? 1, 2, 3. 3 sides and 3 corners. A triangle has 3 straight sides and 3 corners. Let's look at circles. If you traced the flat surface, which is called the face of a cylinder, you would have gotten a circle. And all of these are circles, some big ones, some small ones. How are circles different from the other shapes? How are circles different? A circle has straight sides and corners. Does a circle have any straight sides? Any straight sides? No. So we would say a circle has 0 straight sides. And does it have any corners? Take a look. Any corners? No corners. So 0 corners. A circle is different than all the other shapes because it has no sides and no corners. Go ahead and put your zeros in both of those boxes. Now you get to go on a scavenger hunt around your house, and it says to find rectangles, squares, triangles, and circles. So for example, in this room, they found some circles, a ball, a rug. They found a triangle door stopper, or maybe it's just a block. Some squares inside the windows and a rectangle door. And here's another rectangle picture frame. Very cool. And there's a triangle of a tree inside. So many different shapes all around our house. Let's look at the next page. It says, which shapes are rectangles? I am looking for rectangles. Remember, rectangles have 4 sides that are straight, but all of the sides are not equal. So is F a rectangle? No. Is C a rectangle? No. How about B? How about A? A is a rectangle because it has 4 sides, but the sides are not equal. So A is one of the rectangles. So I'm going to write the letter A. Let's see, another rectangle. I'm looking for another rectangle. How about H? Is H a rectangle? Yes, it is, because it has 4 sides that are not equal, right? Some are long and some are short. So A and H are rectangles. Which shapes are squares? Well, we know squares are just like rectangles. They have 4 sides, but their sides are equal. So letter C and F are squares. C and F. Which shapes are circles? E and G. E and G. Remember, circles have no sides and no corners. The corners on these shapes do not look like the corners on rectangles. How are these shapes similar or different from rectangles? Well, let's take a look at these shapes on the board. So let's compare the rhombus and the trapezoid to a rectangle. Let's look at the straight lines on a rhombus. Rhombus has 1, 2, 3, 4 straight lines, and a trapezoid has 1, 2, 3, 4 straight lines, and a rectangle has 1, 2, 3, 4 straight lines. So all 4 shapes have 4 straight lines, 4 straight sides, Now let's take a look at their corners. A rectangle has 1, 2, 3, 4 corners. A rhombus has 1, 2, 3, 4 corners. And a trapezoid has 1, 2, 3, 4 corners. So we would write down that the rhombus has 4 corners and the trapezoid has 4 corners. So we found the things that are similar between the rectangle, rhombus, and trapezoid. All 3 shapes have 4 sides and 4 corners. How are they different? Well, their corners are not the same. If you look at their corners are different. In the rectangle, the corners look like the letter L. These are my upside down L's. They are very straight, right? In the rhombus, they are angled, kind of looks like a kite, but they are not straight L's, if you notice that. And in the trapezoid, they are not straight L's either. So they are different. They have different looking corners. And we'll talk more about rhombuses and trapezoids later. And that is the end of our lesson for today. You guys did such a great job. Let's take a look at our workbook. All right, in our workbook, we're going to open to chapter 8. It says match the shapes to the words. So you will draw a line for all the circles and all the triangles and the rectangles to connect them. On the next page, it says, number 2 says, circle the rectangles that are squares. This is a little bit tricky. Just remember that all squares are also rectangles. So we're basically looking for squares in this one. We're going to circle all of the squares. And then number 3 says color the triangles. I'm not going to ask you to color them. If you don't want to color it, you don't have to. You can just put a little check on top of it to show me which ones are triangles. Do the same thing for number 4, 5, and 6. Wherever it says color the circles, you don't have to color it. If you want to, go for it. If you don't want to, just put a little check where it says color the squares. So you could just do a little check to show me which ones are squares. This way it'll be a lot faster. And then on the last page here, it says write the number of each kind of shape. Go ahead and look and count all the circles. Write it down. Same thing for triangles and rectangles. And then also do number 8. This is a fun one. It says how many sides and corners does each figure have? So go ahead and count all the sides and all the corners and write your answers for each shape. And that is it. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.